Well, hello there. I sincerely apologize for being so late today. I was actually caught up on a family member's medical call, so I wasn't able to get away. So I apologize for being so late today. Anyway, now that we are here, though, today's topic is really quite an interesting one, right? Because I know that so often after our breast cancer journey, we're not able to be as physical as we were prior, right? Many of us have been through surgeries. Many of us are feeling really achy. Many of us are feeling like we don't have the energy, right, to get to the gym or to go to do what we used to be able to do. So I wanted to kind of speak into that today and to let you know, is walking or running better for your energy? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So, hi there. I'm Karen Del Maestro, self care coach, breast cancer, and BRCA2 thriver, and host of the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. Thank you for joining me here on these 30 days of energy boosting tips. That is my gift to you for this October. And I'd like to kick off today by kind of sharing a story, a little bit of a backdrop as to where this insight to walking or running kind of comes in. What you probably don't know about me is that I was actually a personal trainer for about 10 years. Worked with a lot of people with rehabilitation. I was actually a biathlete myself, which, if you don't know, that's a run followed by a bike followed by a run. I was a single mom at the time, and I worked a full time job as a personal trainer. So my life was incredibly active, incredibly active. And then, as fate would have it, one day, 4:30 in the morning, on an empty highway on my way to work, I was rear-ended by a produce truck. Well, that accident changed the course of my life, much the same as our breast cancer can change the course of our life. And what I thought at the time was one of the worst things that happened to me. I mean, I had 5 herniated discs, still do, dealt with daily back pain, wasn't able to do my job. And so I lost my job. I lost my house. I had to move. Every single factor in my life changed in that one moment. Much the same as our breast cancer journey can have, right? That kind of impact, that traumatic impact where everything can change, our perspective changes. But what happened physically during that time was, because I was in so much pain, I was not able to go back to the running and the biking, the weightlifting, everything that I had been doing previously, because my body wasn't ready for it. I was in pain. This was a massive mental struggle for me, as I know this is for many of you after breast cancer, right? We're beating ourselves up. Get back to the gym. Get back to doing what you were doing before. You're not good enough unless you get back to this. But here's what I want you to know. We're not going back. We're not going back. We're going forward. We're going forward. And sometimes that means exploring things in a different way than we've ever done before. It's called growth. It's called personal development. It's called adding tools to your toolbox, right? So, and I'm not saying I came to these things easily. Please don't think that. Years and years and years of learning to figure these things out, which is why I want to shortcut it for you so that you don't have the pain and the difficulties that I had over those years. But so what I learned, right? I used to use exercise as my stress management tool, right? If I was stressed out over anything, it's like, okay, go hard, sweat, get it out. That's how I used to deal with everything. And what I learned was that was actually me numbing my emotions. That was me trying not to feel the stress and the anxiety and the pain of what I was feeling. And that was the coping mechanism that I had learned Many of us use food as a coping mechanism, right? If you're stressed, you're emotionally eating, right? That's a lot of people. Maybe you're drinking and pouring a glass of wine earlier. Maybe you're using medication. There's so many, maybe shopping. That's a coping mechanism for a lot of people too. Been there and done that one as well. Don't do it anymore. So the key thing here is life is stressful. Life is always going to throw stuff at us. But in order to maintain our energy, right, and our health and help lower our risk of getting sick again, it's important that we learn ways to manage our stress. One of my 4 pillars, right? If you've been watching this series, we're talking about food, stress, toxins, and self care. So we know that we need to move our bodies. Our bodies are meant to move. But here's the lesson that I want you to take away from today. How we move our bodies can vary and should vary over time, depending on where we are at. So, in other words, if you're feeling tired and exhausted and drained, as most of us do after our breast cancer journey, does it make sense to push our bodies and go out for a run, searching for that runner's high? I know it. I know it's there, right? And I know that's what you're really looking for, is that high. Or maybe you've got pressure saying, oh, if I want to lose weight, if I want to be healthy, then I have to run. I've got to burn the calories, right? Maybe those are your concerns. But here's the thing. When we are exhausted and drained, what we actually need is restorative movement, movement that is going to make us feel better, movement that's going to feel like a virtual hug versus stressing ourselves even more, right? So, yes, we want to move, but very often a walk, especially outside, if you can get outside and get in nature, and whether it's cold, bundle up. If it's wet, wear a raincoat or use an umbrella. Growing up in England, I learned that we don't melt in the rain. It's pretty cool, actually. Right? Life doesn't stop because it's raining. It doesn't need to. But we can do all of these things. And what you'll find is that walk outside for 15, 20 minutes, build up to it if you feel like you can't do that right now. Start with 5 minutes. There's no law. There's no law. Okay, so listen to your body, know what you need, right? And then bring it to yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. But what we need to do, I love, and I believe it was in, I'm a huge fan of Brene Brown, and it was in The Gifts of Imperfection, which is such a great book. She talks about the need to unpack culture, right? Unpack what all the magazines are saying, what media is saying, right? Unpack what all of these expectations that we put on ourselves that are not coming from us. They're coming from outward, right? They're coming from culture and society, what other people tell us that we should be doing, these beliefs about what we should be doing. We need to unpack that and let go of that, and tap into what our body is actually saying that we need. And most of the time, what we need is some love, some compassion, some kindness, and the ability to look at our circumstance right now and say, this is for now. This is for now. I'm not saying you're never going to run again. That would certainly be a goal if that's something that you want. But maybe you want to explore some yin yoga, some restorative yoga. Our body has been through, and I know these words are sometimes hard, and I know people can sometimes have adverse reactions, and I apologize if that's the reactions that you have to these words, like battle or struggle or war or trauma. But the truth is that when we go through a disease like breast cancer, that is a massive trauma to our body, mind, and spirit. It is. No two ways about it. And so I apologize if the words that I use don't align with how you think. Feel free to share with me other words that you would like me to use. But the truth is that it is a trauma, and it has the effect that trauma has on our mind, body, and spirit. And so we need to recover from that. And in recovering from that, so that we can regain our energy, we need to be kind. We need to start slow. We need to be gentle. And so that means going for a walk, but being present on that walk, like looking, smelling fresh air, looking at the sky, at the trees, the flowers, right? Noticing things, being present, and just being present in that outdoor space, you will find energizes you. So try not to go out and have your head spinning on your list of to-do things. Oh, I've just got to get this done so that I can go out and do something else. We want to try, I know it's not easy, but we want to try to avoid that mindset, right? So try to be present, go for a walk. The pace is up to you, right? The pace is up to you. So if you need to go slow, you go slow. Don't beat yourself up for going slow, right? I actually have a membership called Moving Forward because it's all about just moving forward. The pace is irrelevant. It's moving forward. That's the key, and not standing still. And so when we're talking about our energy, right, we want to check in. Start by checking in. Hey, body, how you doing today? What do you need? Do you have the energy for a run, or are you doing that because you think you should do that? Should is a judgment word, by the way. Right? And we're so good at placing judgment on ourselves as well as other people placing judgment. Right? So get rid of the shoulds. We want to get rid of that. No judgment, judgment-free zone. Hey, body, how you doing today? What do you need? Do you need to take it slow today? Or do you feel like you can go for a little bit of a faster walk or a longer walk? And then let that replenish your body. Let that rejuvenate your soul, because it will. And when your body is ready, when we learn to check in with it, it will say to us, hey, you know what? Today's a good day. I feel like we can maybe push it a bit more today. So then maybe we go to a run walk, right? Where we walk for a little bit and then we run for a little bit and walk for a little bit and run for a little bit. This is where, my expertise as a personal trainer really comes in. Having trained people who do Ironman, what I've learned is that sometimes less is more. I'll share one more quick story with you today before we finish up. But one of the, I always think here of one of the guys that I used to train. He was an Ironman. And I've always been a fan of stretching and foam rolling for helping the muscles and the myofascia out and things like that. And he always wanted to push it and push it and push it and push it. And one year he got injured because he was pushing it so much. And I had been saying to him as his trainer, no, we need to come back and do some of this restorative work, this recovery work, so that when we are pushing it, we do it better. And finally, after he got injured, he decided that he would try this different approach. Really difficult because it's a mindset. It really is. We are so taught in this world that faster, bigger, better is better, right? Bigger, more, faster. This is where we get to unpack culture. No, it's not necessarily better, right? Less can be better, right? Less can be more energy. And so as we went through our the off season of training him in a different way, of him embracing days of recovery, embracing stretching and foam rolling and myofascial release, and all of these different elements that we brought to his training, then he went out for his next season doing his Ironman. And guess what? His time improved. His time improved. He was blown away. He came back from his first race and he said, Karen, okay, I trusted you. Didn't really believe it yet, but I trusted you when we did this. I'm all in. I now understand the benefit of that recovery time. I now understand the benefit of the restorative work, so that when it comes to game day, race day, life, we actually have the energy to go forward. without getting injured, right? So, kind of that's what this period is after our breast cancer, right? It's a recovery period, right? We need to recover from the trauma that we've been through, which we can look at like an injury, right? But it's a disease, the disease of breast cancer. And so I understand that it's a really difficult shift in our mindset. I get that. But I truly hope that this resonates with you. And maybe you've even gone, oh, thank God. I felt like I should go running because that's what I did before, but I haven't really felt like it. I'm just pushing myself because that's what I've always done. I hope that what today's video has done is kind of given you permission to step back, to take it slower, to go for a walk instead of a run, because that's where we are today, right now. Doesn't mean it's where we're always going to be. It's just where we are right now. And we need to show ourselves that self care, that compassion, that love, so that we can get to that point where our bodies will function well again, whatever that looks like. Let's not define it. So that because we may discover other things that work better for us at this point in our life. Right? So keep in mind that sometimes we have to approach our recovery with an open mind about doing things differently. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's different. And if we're closed off to change in this life, we're never going to grow. Right? Growth is change, and that's uncomfortable. It's not easy, but we can do it. And if you need the support, which most of us do, because Lord knows that this journey can be really isolating, then hop on over to the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. We're your tribe. We're all women who get it in there. Okay. And if you're following along on our 30 days of energy boosting tips, don't forget to grab your calendar, right? I'll make sure that you've got the link below. If you haven't grabbed the calendar yet, do grab that. I don't know about your mind, but I can't remember all of these tips. 30 of them? No, I can't remember. So the purpose of that is so that, if you're having a day where you're feeling that your energy is lagging, you can look at this. You don't have to do it in order. You can do whatever you want with it. But you've got 30 suggestions there of things that you can do. And one of them, I guarantee you, you'll be like, oh, yeah, that's right for me today. I'm going to do that one because that's going to help restore me. That's going to help energize me, sometimes in unconventional ways, but I promise they work. So that you can do that for yourself. It's kind of empowering when we're able to do that for ourselves, don't you think? So I will be back tomorrow, normal time, normal places, for the next day. What are we going into? Day 13. Wow, crazy. We're almost halfway through this journey already. My name is Karen Del Maestro. You can find me at KarenDelMaestro.com. That's Karen with an I. Or as I've said, in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. And I will see you tomorrow. Have an amazing, energized day. And don't forget, go for a walk. Sounds good, right? Okay. Bye for now, guys.